court is now back in session, and the chamber gives the floor to the defense team for Mr. Nguyen Chia to resume its line of questioning. You may now proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Your Honors. Mr. Witness, I would like to ask you some more questions this afternoon. Let me first get back to Chanta one more time. It's a clarification question I have. Yesterday you said that a woman told everyone in the mobile unit that Chanta was being transferred to study tailoring or sewing in Phnom Penh. Is that correct?
Answer, yes, that is correct.
What was it, Chanta herself who said that, or was it another woman who said that?
Answer, Chanta spoke about that, and others also spoke about that matter. We were all together at that time.
And do you recall how many days before you saw her killing did Chanta say that she had to go for tailoring training to Phnom Penh?
Answer, one day before she was sent to study tailoring skills.
So the day before you said you saw her killing, she said she was going to Phnom Penh. Is that correct?
Answer, yes, that is correct.
And did she say who told her that? Who told her that she was going to Phnom Penh?
Answer, I did not know. I do not know about that.
What exactly happened? She said she was going to Phnom Penh. You heard that, and then at one point you didn't see her anymore. Is that correct?
Answer, members of a mobile unit said to one another about the matter, and Chanta herself made a mention that she would be sent to Phnom Penh to join the tailoring training.
And did you see her leave? Did she go voluntarily someplace, or what was the last time you saw her before the moment you said she was killed? Did you see her at the work site?
Good. Answer, after she left the mobile unit, she was sent to the pagoda.
But did you see that, or did you conclude that because you saw her the next day?
Answer. She was walking out of the mobile unit area and heading to the pagoda.
What about her grandparents? What happened to them?
Answer. I do not know.
Were her grandparents called Takut and Yehai?
Main.
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
There is a witness who says, that is document E3/7685, Mr. President, on the last page, that the grandparents of Chanta were killed one day before the Vietnamese came, one day before 7 January 1979. Have you ever heard that yourself?
Answer. I have heard it from others.
Have you heard from others if there was a reason why Chanta was allegedly killed someday in November 78 and her grandparents one day before 7 January 79?
Answer. I have no knowledge of it.
Just to be sure, you knew at the time Chanta's grandparents. You knew who they were. You had seen them before. Is that correct?
Answer. I knew them well since they were living in the same village. Sometimes I would go and visit their house.
Now let me go back to the day that you said you saw these executions. You said that you were given permission to visit your family. Who was it that gave you this permission to leave your mobile unit and go visit your family?
Mình mê.
Answer. No. We, the youth, asked each other that we could go to visit our houses, and we told each other that we would come back a little bit later in the evening.
Maybe I misunderstood you, but I thought you said before the break that you had asked special permission to leave the place where you were sleeping and to go visit your family. Is that correct?
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
And who was it that gave that permission? Was it mobile unit chief?
Answer. The request made by me was submitted to the youth in the unit.
Was this a special request from you, or was it the day, the 10th day that you would normally have a free day? Do you recall?
Answer. No, I do not recall it.
Do you recall why it was only in the evening, when it was already dark, that you went to visit your family? Why not in the morning?
Answer. Back then, it was the time that I returned from work, and I wanted to visit my house.
Just for the evening and the night, and then in the next morning you would return again. Is that my understanding?
Answer. I made a request to visit my house during the break time, and I did not spend much time visiting my house. I returned to my sleeping quarter at night time.
Do you recall the name of the chief of the youths who gave you this permission?
Answer. I do not remember it because it happened a long time ago.
And just to be sure, your friend filed that same request to visit his family that evening, that night. Is that correct?
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
Now, yesterday you said that you said the following: since I was suspicious, I invited my friend and I went for a walk. Is that what you said yesterday?
Answer. I cannot recall it.
You cannot recall that you said this yesterday, or you cannot recall that you told your friend that you were suspicious?
Answer. I cannot remember it.
Let's talk about your friend. You said you were scared, but he was an adult, and therefore you were able to see things. Is that correct?
Answer. Yes, that is correct.
Do you remember how much older he was than you?
mình chào
Answer. I cannot recall it well. I think perhaps he was over 60 years old. It is my estimate.
60? 60?
lâu
Answer. He was over 60 years old.
I have in front of me, Mr. Witness, his testimony, and it seems that he was only 2 years older than you at the time. He was born in 58, whereas you were born in 1960. So isn't it true that your friend was only 2 years older than you?
ខ្ញុំ
Answer. I did not ask his age at that time, and it is my estimate that he was about 60 years old at the time.
Maybe there's something with the translation, but 60 years old is very old, isn't it?
Answer. At the time, I was 18 years old, and from his physical appearance, he was about 30 years old.
That could be, but he was only 2 years older than you. Did he look very old, or are you just guessing?
một gật
Answer. He looked very old in terms of his physical appearance and his face.
Counsel, just a short clarification, because I was as confused as you were. From what translator just told me, when, and I stand to be corrected for the record, when the witness mentioned the age of 60, he was referring to his age today. So the age this person would have today. Today he would be 60. Is that correct? Perhaps we can clarify.
Of course. I just asked you a question about your friend. You were happy that your friend was there because he was an adult. Do you know how old your friend was at that time when you were together? So not now, but then, how old he was?
Answer. I estimate that he was almost 30 years old at that time, since he was older than me.
You've been asked about the period of time that you said you were witnessing these events. The prosecution already mentioned that you've said 3 hours and 1 hour. Can you try to remember one last time, from when till when did you witness these events? What time in the evening?
Answer: it happened a long time ago. I cannot recall it.
Another witness who talks about the events said that, that's Mr. President E3/7685 on the third page, that she couldn't see anything because, quote unquote, they forbid the people from walking nearby. Is that something that you remember as well, that people were forbidden to walk close or nearby the pagoda?
Answer: later on, I heard people say that people were forbidden to walk nearby the pagoda.
But you never encountered anyone who said you can't walk there. Is that correct?
Answer: no one told me, no one forbid me not to walk to anywhere.
Is it correct, Mr. Witness, that at present day there is no stupa at the pagoda containing of bones and skulls?
Answer: I do not know.
It's a difficult question, I realize, but do you have an explanation for the fact that at the pagoda you described no official killing site was located by an organization called DC Cam?
President, hold on, Mr. Witness, you may now proceed. Co-prosecutor.
It's obviously a question that leads the witness to speculate, so therefore this question should be dismissed.
I realize it's a difficult question. Let me try to rephrase. Mr. Witness, have you ever been part of ceremonies after 1979 during which you were able to see remains of the alleged victims?
President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. You may now proceed. International Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
I believe that before putting the question, the defense counsel should establish where the witness was after 1979? Was he still residing in the same place? Did he have the opportunity of returning and to attend this kind of ceremony? If this hasn't been done, I don't see how the witness can answer that question.
I will try to reformulate again. Mr. Witness, have you ever heard of any ceremonies during which remains of the alleged victims could be seen?
Answer. After Vietnamese entered the country in 1979, at that time, the Vietnamese were in the tanks into the territory of the Cambodia. The morning after, I asked my aunt to go and live in Kampong Klang district.
Very well, no problem. Mr. Witness, my last question to you. Isn't it true that in fact you never witnessed an execution or any executions, but that you heard a story that this happened from the chief of the village?
Could you reformulate your question? I could not catch it.
I will do it more simply. Mr. Witness, I put it to you that you never yourself actually witnessed an execution or the execution of Chanta. Isn't that true?
Answer. It is not true.
What isn't true?
Answer. I saw the execution at the site. It is true what I saw.
Thank you, Mr. President.
President, thank you. Now the chamber gives the floor to the defense team for Mr. Kyusampon to put questions to this witness. You may now proceed. Kong Samon. Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Mr. President and your honors, everyone in and around the courtroom. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I would like to ask about your mobile unit. Can you explain what your mobile unit was at the time?
Answer. My mobile unit was a village mobile unit, and the main task was to harvest rice. And sometimes we were tasked to build dike or to build dam. Counsel, thank you. In relation to the events that you said you witnessed the execution, what kind of task was your mobile unit given? Answer, it's been a long time and I cannot recall it. Counsel, thank you. Do you recall how many members there were in your mobile unit? Answer: I cannot recall it clearly. However, there were about 20 to 30 workers in the unit, or could be a little bit more. Question: and do you recall who was in charge of the mobile unit? What is the name of the chief? Answer: I cannot recall it. It happened many years ago. Question: and do you know or recall names of members of your mobile unit who are still alive today? Answer: as I have testified, shortly after the arrival of the Vietnamese, I went to live with my father in Kampong Klang. Question: in relation to the locations where your mobile unit worked or stayed, and you testified that the unit stayed at about 200 meters to the north of the pagoda. Can you tell the chamber whether that location was a sleeping quarter or was it a work site? Answer: it was a sleeping quarter. We went to work in the area, for example, to harvest rice and return to the sleeping quarter. Questioned: and the work site, how far was it from the sleeping quarter? Answer: it varied. Sometimes we were assigned to work about 1 or 2 kilometers away from the sleeping quarter, and sometimes it was something like 500 meters away. Question: on the night in question, that is the night you said you witnessed the execution, besides you and your friend, what were other members of the mobile unit doing at that time? Answer: they were resting. Question: please tell us the name of the village where you was heading through. Answer: it's a Giang village. Question: can you give us a bit more specific regarding the house, your house in that village? Answer: it was pretty far from the mobile unit sleeping quarter. We had to follow the road from the pagoda to the east. Then we turned to the southwest direction before I could reach my house. Question. And can you give us the estimate of the distance from the base of your mobile unit or from the pagoda to your house in that village? And I cannot give you a real estimate because there were forests in between. Question. You said that there was a road to the east side of the pagoda. Was it at the back of the pagoda or was it to the side of the pagoda? I refer to the road that you were taking when you were heading to your village. Answer. There were two roads. One was from the national road toward the entrance of the pagoda, and there was another road leading out of the pagoda to the east direction. Question. And the road that you was taking at the time, and you said that it was to the east of the pagoda. So, does it mean that it was the road at the back of the pagoda? Is my understanding correct? And I cannot recall it that clearly. Question. Can you tell the chamber which direction the pagoda is facing? I refer to the entrance of the pagoda. And the entrance is from the national road. And then when you reach the middle compound of the pagoda, there is a road leading out of the pagoda to the village. Question. And can you give us the direction? For example, the road leading off the national road, from which direction is it? And which national road are you referring to? Answer. I am unsure about the direction. Question. You said that from the middle of the pagoda there was a road leading out. Can you be a bit more specific? Answer. The road leading to the village. It was through the southeast of the pagoda, and the road leading off the national road is from the southwest. That is, it's leading to the pagoda. Question. And which road was you taking? Was it on the eastern side of the pagoda, or was it on the national road side? Answer. While I was heading home, I was walking to the east side of the pagoda, but I did not follow the road completely, so I took a shortcut. That means that I was walking through the rice field, and that would lead me directly to my house. Question. And can you tell the court whether you actually arrived at your house that night? Answer, yes, I did. Question, was there anyone home? Answer, there were my aunts and uncles. Question, can you tell us their names? Answer, my uncle was Chuan and Kun was my aunt, but she passed away a long time ago. Question, what about your uncle? Answer, yes, he is still alive, but he is very old. Question, and did you tell your uncle and your aunt about the event that you said you saw? Answer, no, I did not. Question, and do you recall why you decided not to tell your aunt and your uncle about this? President witness, please hold on, and Deputy International Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
I didn't have the time to rise for the previous answer because of the interpretation that took time, but I don't think that the counsel is establishing that the witness went to his uncle and to his aunts after the executions. I wanted to know if he went there before or afterwards. Otherwise, this question is completely irrelevant.
Counsel Kung Samon, I do not know about the French interpretation, but I actually put that question to the witness already, and may I proceed, Mr. President? Thank you. And Mr. Witness, I'd like you to tell the court about the trip that you made when you left the mobile unit to visit your house. However, I'd like to ask you a bit more specific regarding the friend whom you said accompanied you. Can you tell the chamber the initial reason for you to decide to visit your home with your friend? Answer, frankly speaking, in fact, I asked my friend to go with me in order to go and get a chicken. Answer, is it your idea, or is it somebody else's idea, or is it someone's order? Answer, actually it's our idea. We both decided to go and get a chicken. Question, and did you discuss where you would get the chicken? Answer, we agreed that we would go to my house. Question, so does it mean you both had to go together, right? Answer, yes. Counsel, please repeat your question as it may not go through the microphone. My question to you is that whether you yourself went to your house together. Answer, yes, that is correct. Question, and that night, did your friend actually arrived at your house? Answer, I cannot recall that. Question, you told the chamber that you agreed to go and get a chicken so you can cook it and eat it. How can you recall that? Answer, actually we intended to do so, however along the way we witnessed that event unfolded, and after that we continued our journey to my house. Question, allow me to continue. So, when you arrived at your house, did you actually get a chicken and cooked it? Or did you bring it to the mobile unit and cooked it? Answer, no. Question. Thank you. Now I'd like to refer to the event as you said. You often refer to a Khmer word "Anlung Kong." Please, can you explain to the court what it meant when you said it's "Anlung Kong"? Answer. In the area, and Anlung Kong is a pit. It's a long pit, dark, deep. It could be 2 meters deep, and the length could be further, could be much longer. Questioned. And for the pit of the Anlung Kong that you hit yourself and watch what happened, can you estimate the dimension of that Anlung Kong or pit? Answer. I cannot estimate the length of that pit on Lung Kong. However, the depth was a bit more than 1 meter. It's up to my chest when I stood inside. And actually they covered that pit with coconut tree leaves, and actually I walked scooping my body down. Question, you actually indicated that it's up to your chest, but it is rather descriptive, and for a proper record, could you give us a number? Answer, the depth is about 1.5 meters. Questioned. I'd like now to speak about the gas mantle that you said you saw it hang. And can you tell the chamber how many gas mantles did you actually see? Answer, there was one. Question, how big was it? And what was its level of brightness? Answer, I cannot give you an estimate. Question, what about its brightness level? Answer, it was hung on a tree branch and you could see the surrounding of about 5 meters from the gas mantle itself. Question, am I correct that you could see within the vicinity of 5 meters from the gas mantle? Answer, yes, that is correct. Question, when you approach the pagoda by walking through the pit on Lung Kong, was you always accompanied by your friend, or did you separate at any stage? Answer, I cannot recall that. Question, you have testified that when you were watching the event, you were pretty scared, but you felt a bit more relief when you were with an older person. And please tell the court, actually, who decided to go and try to see what happened first? Was it you or was it your friend? Answer, we both wanted to see what happened. Question, and did you, can you recall who actually walked first? Answer, I cannot recall that. Question, the person who accompanied you, what was his position in the mobile unit? Answer, I cannot recall it. And a question, was he a member of your mobile unit? Answer, he was a member, however, he was married. Question, usually, did he remain at a sleeping quarter with the rest of the mobile unit near the pagoda? Answer, it varied. Sometimes he remained with the mobile unit, sometimes he went to rest at his house in the village. Wherever he had to sleep doesn't matter as long as he would be going to work in the early morning on time. Question. You mentioned several times about the name of Janta. In particular, you gave the description of the killing of a Janta. And you said that you witnessed Janta being executed by the government, and that her legs were pushed up to behind her back and behind her head. Could you tell the court how it was possible to bend such legs behind the head? Answer. I saw they put a scarf in her mouth. They rest her legs behind her head, and they actually cut open her back. Question. And amid the act of killing Janta, where was your friend? Answer. I cannot recall it. Question. Yesterday you testified that the execution site where those people were killed with a club was at a different location where Janta was executed, and you also testified that only Janta was killed and her gallbladder was removed. Can you tell the chamber the distance from the gas mental location to the location where Janta was executed? Answer. The longest distance was about 6 meters. Question. Was it toward you or was it further away from your location? President, witness, please observe the microphone. Answer. It was on the other side of the pit. Question. This morning you also testified that those people who were killed not many of them were killed at a particular point in time, and that only one of them was killed at a time far away from where they were kept. Can you tell the chamber how far was it from where those people were kept and where the execution took place?
Answer. The distance from the pit to the gate of the pagoda was about 10 meters away. Those who walked the victims were inside the pagoda, and the gate of the pagoda was closed, and they left only one space so that they could move out and in of the pagoda. Question. When you were questioned by Judge Lavent, you stated that from your observation station you were not able to see the library hall of the pagoda because of the fence and the bushes. Could you tell the court how could you see people being walked from the library toward the killing site? Answer. I could not see it. Question. At the time, were you able to hear the conversation between the soldiers and those who were to be killed? Answer. Yes, I was able to hear the voice, and I could not hear very clearly what they were talking about. Counsel, thank you. I move to another point concerning the pit. You have just made mention that the pit was 5 by 5 in terms of the size, and the depth was about 3 meters. How could you know the size of the pit at that time? What could lead you to know the size of the pit at that time? Answer. The villagers knew the size of the pit, and I learned it from the villagers. Counsel, do you mean that the villagers, old villagers, told you about the size of the pit? Answer. Yes, they told me. Question. Who told you? Do you recall his or her name? Answer. No, I cannot recall his or her name since it happened from 1979 up until now. It has been long time ago. Counsel, thank you. Concerning the library hall, had you seen the library before the incident or after it? Answer. I had seen it before. Question. Could you tell the court the width and the length of the library hall? How large was it? Answer: I cannot give my estimate in relation to the size of the hall. Question: I am now asking you about the people who were detained in the library hall. You stated that there were around 300 and 400 people detained inside that library hall. How did you learn that number? Answer: I heard old villagers mentioned the number. They said those people were brought from different villages. Old villagers told me about that. Counsel: thank you. So, in your testimony, you stated that you heard the screaming and the cry from the pagoda, and because of this, you went to observe what happened inside. Is this information true, or is it confusing to you? Answer: it is the true information that I told. Counsel: regarding this point, there may be two possible consequences. One is that perhaps you went to have a look after you heard the screaming and crying that you said you heard from the inside of the library hall. Despite this, in the report of the investigator of the OCIJ, document D2329/95, in the diagram or the picture in that document, it shows that the library was behind the pagoda to the east of your sleeping quarter. When you stated that the library was about 200 meters away from where you observed the incident, this means that the library hall was close to your sleeping quarter. So how could you explain this to the court? Answer: at the time I was so scared. Question: what can I understand from your testimony that you were so scared? You stated that you went to observe the event, so it appears to be, a contrasting testimony in this case. So can you explain it to the court? Answer: I could not walk close to the pagoda at that time. I was walking outside of the defense of the pagoda. I was heading to the east, and at that time I wanted to know what the voice or the screaming it was. Question: from what I heard in your testimony, you left your mobile unit and went to have a look at what happened inside the pagoda because of the screaming and the cry. Number two, you stated that you filed a request to visit your house. And lastly, you have just stated now that you wanted to go to your house and pick up a chicken to be cooked for meal. So could you tell the court why you left your mobile unit at that time? Answer: the real intention was that I wanted to visit my house. However, while I was walking to my house, I overheard the screaming and the cry. Counsel, thank you. After you had left such a pagoda, the place where you were observing the incident, what made you leave the observation station? Was it on your own initiative, or did your friend ask you to leave? Witness, could you reformulate your question, counsel? Counsel, I am asking you why you left such a pagoda. You stated earlier that you were there observing the incident for an hour, after which you left. So what made you leave? Why did not you stay in that place and look at the incident until the end of it? So was it on your initiative that you left the place, or did your friend ask you to leave? Answer: I cannot recall it. Counsel, thank you, Mr. Witness. Mr. President, I am done with my questioning. President, the hearing of Swan testimony has come to an end now. Thank you very much, Mr. Sien Sung, for spending your valuable time to testify before the chamber as a witness. Your testimony will contribute to the truth in this case. You may now be excused. You may return to your residence or to anywhere you wish to go. I wish you good luck and good health. Court officer, please work with the vessels to make transport arrangement for Mr. Sien Sung to his residence or to anywhere he wishes to go. The court is now adjourned, and the hearing will resume on 30th November 2015, as the chamber has informed the party. Once again, the chamber will resume its hearing on 30th November 2015, and it will start to hear the testimony on the treatment of Vietnamese. The Chamber will inform parties the list and the order of witnesses and civil parties to be here to testify in due course after the Chamber has received the information from WESU about the availability of concerned witnesses and civil parties. Please be informed. Security personnel, please bring the two accused, Nguyen Chi and Kieu Sampon, back to the ECCC detention facility, and please have them returned on 30th November 2015 at 9 a.m. The court is now adjourned.